welcome back to RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Arnold Classic 2019, brought to you by Redcon One. I'm Dave Palumbo here with Chris, the technician, Aceto, and we're going to be breaking down the Classic Physique lineup, doing a little analysis and predictions. Chris, look, going into this Classic Physique, Arnold, I have to say that the highest ranked competitor here going into the show would be George Peterson, who was third at the Mr. Olympia competition back in 2018 in September. He finished there in 2017 as well, so we have a consistent top three competitor here. The only guy that ranked, highly ranked in this lineup. Can anyone beat George Peterson, Chris?
Absolutely. He could, yeah, without a doubt.
When you've analyzed George Peterson in the past, and you said to me that he looks more like a 212 competitor, a 212 bodybuilder than a Classic Physique competitor. Obviously, judges seem to like his physique a lot. He makes that weight, although it's hard. Is this a guy that should remain in the Classic division, or do you think at some point we might see him in 212?
He probably, I mean, if he's doing well, stay where you're at, right? I mean, that's how I always think about, when people think about switching classes, whatever. But, I mean, he could be a 212 guy as well, but I think he's, and he could win the show based on condition. But if you factor in classic lines, then this is a show that he could surely lose.
Yeah, he has certainly one of the best backs in Classic. A lot of freak factor going on. I watch his videos that Justin posts as his coach, who's a good friend of mine, and he's got like Ronnie Coleman glutes. I actually think that he looks better sometimes in the gym, like a week out from the shows, than actually sometimes on stage. I don't know if that's because he has to make weight, but when he's hydrated and everything, he looks ridiculous.
Yeah, that could be definitely, could be a factor of trying to make the weight, because a lot of these guys who do make the weight barely make it. They are better 7 pounds, 7 pounds bigger, 2.5 weeks out, and they're more impressive looking.
Yeah. Now, one of the guys that has impressed me over the last year or so, he's always sending me pictures, and I just love his physique. Keone Pearson, he's now being trained by Flex Wheeler. He's out there in Vegas with Flex the last 2 weeks, getting ready for this show. I think he's got to be one of the most dangerous guys in the lineup. He's not as big as George, obviously, but he's got that small waist, classic lines. I know Flex has been working on his presentation with him. I mean, here's a guy who he should have Classic Physique tattooed across the front of his head.
Well, that's what I mean by lines. I mean, I love his physique. I've seen pictures of him. I've seen him in person compete. Outrageous physique, outrageous classic lines, no imbalances, no strengths that make one area look, dominant over another, and that's, to me, what Classic is about, is just when you see it, it, and his physique just screams, I'm a Classic guy.
Which is going to make George Peterson's job very difficult come this weekend. Now, another guy in the lineup, Wesley Vissers, I bring up because, the comparison between Arnold and Wesley Vissers last year was undeniable. He hits all the Arnold poses. He's got a very similar physique to Arnold. He won the, what show did he win? He won Chicago Pro last year, qualified for the Olympia, didn't do well at the Olympia, tried to come in a little too big. I think that hurt him. Given the fact that we have the Arnold Classic here, we have a guy who looks like Arnold, has a similar physique, hits all the Arnold poses. Does that help him in this lineup?
No, because Cedric lost 4 Arnolds, and they were like Cedric Arnold on like a first name basis. They talk. So no, I don't think it helps him one bit. I mean, he's very good as well, but I don't think he compares to the guy we just mentioned,
Keone.
And there's another guy. I mean, I don't mean to skip over Vissers, but there's another guy you'll probably bring his name up.
I love Ricky Moten's physique as well. I don't know if that's the guy you're referring to.
There's another kid. Who's,
and of course, the guy, Steve Laureus is in the lineup as well, who's very dangerous.
But there's someone else who's even more Classic. What's his name? Give me the lineup, Dave, and I'll tell you.
I'll read you the lineup, and you tell me who you like. I also like Khaled Chikhaoui, too, who's from Canada. We've interviewed him before. Charles Curtis, Ali Emery, Dion Harris, Lejean Jones. Steve Laureus, we mentioned Fabio Lopez, Elijah Lorenzo, Jason Lowe, who's your client, obviously, looking really good. Just got done interviewing him. David Martinez, Rovanti Moody, Ricky Moten, Courage Opara, we've mentioned before.
No, we didn't mention him. What's his name?
I mentioned him. We've talked to him about him before. Is that who you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
What's his name?
Courage Opara.
Yeah, he's got danger written all over his forehead. Because
why do you like his physique?
Because it flows. It's round. He's got just he's got natural tie-ins that you can't do bench presses and squats to improve upon. You know, he just got the right flow that could make him look extremely dangerous. And what dangerous means in the classic is balance. And what dangerous means is, like, you know, someone can have a better back, a better condition, but if you have the right combo of all, you know, condition, shape, and flow, you don't need to be the biggest guy. It's not the open show. It's the one your eyes go right back to. So, you know, genetics in this group is huge. You know, genetics in terms of not ability to grow and this and that, but just the flow, the shape.
Well, this is a very stacked lineup, and I think we're going to have, you know, the great thing about Classic is because it's still so new, it seems like every big show like the Arnold or the Olympia, we get new stars emerging, Chris, new guys to talk about, and new guys who are entering the fray to compete for that Olympia title. So this should be a great show. I think that the person to beat here has to be still George Peterson, because no one's in this lineup has beat him as of yet. Once again, third place at the Olympia the last 2 years. And the question will be, will we see the best George Peterson up on that stage?
I mean, I think we'll see the best George Peterson without a doubt, because he's proven to be consistent. That, you know, there's no question about his consistency. There's no question about, you know, his ability to win. The question is, you know, if you're a judge, how you deem what is the classic physique in this division. You know, what is, and you got three names that clearly have better flow. Laureus, the guy, and the other two guys, I can't remember their names. The ones that you keep.
Keone Pearson and Courage Opara.
So those three are dangers for, you know, for George. And if there was one, right, you could say, oh, George, you know, won on the condition and, you know, sheer level of muscularity. And if there's two, your eyes start to come off George. And if there's three, then whether he's been third in the Olympia 2 years in a row, he's vulnerable because it's a different lineup. It's a tough lineup.
Well, we won't know who's going to win this classic division, obviously, until we get out there and get all the action started this coming weekend. Make sure you guys stay tuned all weekend long to RXMuscle.com's coverage. Chris Aceto and I will be out there recapping all the prejudgings and the finals, and of course interviewing the winners and going to the expo and having all kinds of goofy fun out there with all the booths. And once again, we want to thank Redcon One for stepping up to the plate and sponsoring all the coverage on RXMuscle.com this weekend. Make sure you check out their website for all their specials. For now, I'm Dave Palumbo with the technician Chris Aceto for RX Muscle's Iron Road to the Arnold Classic 2019. We'll see you next time.